各位记者朋友，大
Friends from the media, good afternoon. Welcome to today's press conference. First of all, I will release a piece of information. At the invitation of a member of the Political Bureau of the City Central Committee and Foreign Minister Wang Yi, Foreign Minister Second of Brunei, everyone will visit China from December 11th to 12th.
下面请提问。
Now the floor for questions is open.
谢谢发言人。北京青年报记者提问：我们注意到中国常驻联合国代表团昨
We have noticed that the permanent mission of China to UN has established the group of friends for global governance in the UN platform. Can you introduce us it? President Xi Jinping has solemnly put forward the global governance initiative in the SCO Tianjin summit, charting the right course for the reform of global governance system, injecting precious stability and certainty to the unstable world, which is widely recognized and responded by the international community. China initiated the Group of Friends for Global Governance with an aim to working with all parties to focusing on the exchange and communication on the major agendas surrounding the global governance initiative and building collective wisdom, coordinating common actions for reforming global governance. Yesterday, the Chinese permanent mission in UN has launched the starting conference, and the participant party has highly recognized and supported the global initiative, commends China's guiding role in the global governance, welcomed the establishment of the group, and expect the group can injecting new driving forces for safeguarding multilateralism and improving the global governance system. After the conference, the 43 founding members of the group have released a joint statement emphasizing we need to jointly safeguard the victorious outcome of World War II, support the UN role, and jointly respond to the global challenges, respond to the aspirations of the people. Global governance is for everybody and is based on the vital interests of all countries, needs joint participation, decision, and sharing of the outcomes. The group is open to all members of the UN. We welcome all countries with a similar vision to join us, support the group to strengthen exchange and communication with all countries and relevant international organizations to build a more just and equitable global governance system and to making new contribution to the world peace and development. Next question, please.
总台华语中心记者提问：我们注意到日本在军事化加快台。
CCTV, we noted that the international community is concerned over the accelerating remilitarization in Japan. The Economist and Eurasia Review commented that Japan has for the first time equipped itself with cruise missiles, and it has attempted to resurrect militarism that can only threaten both regional security and global peace and stability, was China's comment. We noted the commentaries. Japan has in recent years been revamping its security and defense policies, accelerating the revision of its pacifist constitution and breaching the exclusively defense-oriented principle. Japan has removed the ban on exercising the right to collective self-defense, erased restrictions on arms exports, attempted to alter its 3 non-nuclear principles, and developed the so-called enemy-based strike capabilities. Senior officials claim that Japan has not ruled out the possibility of possessing nuclear submarines. Those moves have put neighboring countries and the world on high alert. We noted that after increasing its defense budget for 13 consecutive years, Japan's military budget is second only to the U.S. among Western countries. According to think tank, the revenues of Japan's top 5 defense firms surged by 40% year-on-year in 2025. For a country who claims to be constitutionally pacifist and has reflected on its wartime past and is committed to exclusively defense-oriented principle, how does Japan justify its military buildup? In fact, after World War II, the Japanese government has never ever completely reflected on its wars of aggression. Many war criminals returned as active political figures and SDF members. Prime ministers and political figures in Japan have insisted on visiting and paying respect to the Yasukuni Shrine, where Class A war criminals were honored. Historical facts have been soft-pedaled and whitewashed in distorted textbooks. Japanese right-wing forces did reflect upon its wartime past, but not on Japan's war crimes, but on why Japan was defeated. The reckoning with Japanese militarism has never been completed. Instead, we still see the rising trend of reviving militarism. It is imperative for the international community to remind Japan that the Potsdam Proclamation in Articles 6, 7, 9, and 11 stated that there must be eliminated for all time Japanese militarism and its breeding ground, for we insist that a new order of peace, security, and justice will be impossible until there is convincing proof that Japan's war-making power is destroyed politically and legally. It also required Japan to be completely disarmed and not to maintain such industries as would enable her to rearm for war. It's also promised in the Japanese instrument of surrender that Japan will carry out the provisions of the Potsdam Proclamation in good faith. These instruments with legal effect under international law and recognized by Japan clarified its international obligations as a defeated country and constitute the important cornerstone of the post-war international order, as well as the political and legal prerequisite for Japan's return to the international community. Japan's attempt of militarizing itself through accelerated military buildup will only make the world once again question where Japan is headed and demand another reckoning of its war crimes. China calls on all peace-loving countries to guard against and thwart any dangerous moves of reviving Japanese militarism and jointly defending the hard-won victorious outcomes of World War II. Next one, please.
Alan Wan from Blue.
彭博社，我想追问一下刚才的这个问题。我们看到有越来越多的中国游客自从中日之间的危机开始之后，不再前往日本。虽然有很多制裁的行为，但是中国的消费者仍然非常青睐日本的品牌。这是否是表明中国的公民并不共鸣中日之间的危机问题，还是说中国政府的反制措施还没有涉及餐饮和零售业？中方对此有何评论？
我不知道你的消息来源。
I don't know your origin of your information. On the current China-Japan relations, we have made our position clear for multiple times.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。新华社记者提问：今天也就是12月10号。
Today and also the December 10th marks the Human Rights Day. What's China's progress in promoting and protecting human rights? What will China do to enhance international human rights cooperation? This year marks the 80th anniversary of the founding of the UN. The UN adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 70 years ago and established the Human Rights Day 75 years ago, which embody humanity's ambitious dream, the full enjoyment of human rights by all people. The vision of promoting and protecting human rights is increasingly well received. China always attaches great importance to respecting and guaranteeing human rights and pursues a human rights development path that meets the trend of the times and suits its national conditions. Over the 14th five-year plan period, China has made remarkable achievements in national development, advanced the whole process, people's democracy, effectively and fully implemented the rule of law, better ensure people's well-being, consolidated gains in poverty elimination, steadily improved the ecological environment, and elevated the protection of various human rights to a new stage. As a constructive player, China actively participates in human rights affairs in the UN and has broad-based exchange and cooperation in human rights with other countries. The second workshop on economic, social, and cultural rights is being hosted by China in Beijing. Representatives from over 40 countries in Asia, Africa, Latin America, and Oceania, and officials and experts from the UN attended the workshop. They have had an in-depth discussions and reached broad consensus on promoting and protecting economic, social, and cultural rights. In October this year, the fourth plenary session of the 20th CP Central Committee adopted the recommendations for formulating the 15th five-year plan. This has drawn a blueprint for China's economic development in the next 5 years and demonstrates China's vision of having mutually beneficial cooperation with the rest of the world. To advance Chinese modernizations will also give a boost to all-round development of human rights in China. China will actively implement the global governance initiative proposed by President Xi and inject more force for good into human rights development in the world. Some countries politicize and weaponize human rights issues, which amount to a grave challenge to global human rights governance. The certain country refuses to repent for its past crimes, such as bacterial warfare, the forced recruitment of comfort women, and the massacre of civilians during its war of aggression. Rather, they continue to infringe on the rights of indigenous people, such as Ainu and the Ryukyuans, and adopt policies that discriminate foreigners. We urge the relevant country to face up to and resolve their own severe human rights issues, take a constructive part in the international cooperation in human rights, and stop interfering in other countries' internal affairs under the pretext of so-called human rights issue. Next one, please.
据报道，12月9日，英国政府宣
It is reported that the British government announced to impose sanctions on the two Chinese companies, alleging that they have carried out cyber attacks against the UK and its allies, and their activity that linked to the Chinese government. What's your comment? China stands against hacking and fights such activities in accordance with the law. Thus, we firmly oppose spreading disinformation out of political agenda. China strongly deplores and firmly rejects the UK's political manipulation under the pretext of cybersecurity and has lodged serious protests with the UK side, both in Beijing and London. China is the biggest victim of cyber attacks. A few months ago, China exposed a case about the US National Security Agency carrying out cyber attacks and infiltration against China's National Time Service Center. It needs to be noted that the UK was exactly one of the springboards the US used to launch the above-mentioned cyber attacks on China. China provided relevant information to the UK side. The UK and the US are both members of the Five Eyes and NATO. We hope the UK will explain its role in the US cyber attacks against China's key information infrastructure. The world faces common challenges in cybersecurity. We urge the UK to correct this wrongdoing at once, abandon double standards, and attempts to politicize the issue, and work with China in a truly responsible and constructive manner to jointly uphold peace, stability, and prosperity in the cyberspace.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。总台央视记者提问：据报道，英国首相
It is reported that UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer will visit China from January 29th to 31st, and he will travel to Beijing and Shanghai. Can you confirm this?
中方重视
China attaches importance to improving and developing its relations with the UK and stands ready to enhance exchanges at various levels. To my knowledge, China has not had discussions with the UK on the date of Prime Minister Starmer's visit to China and other specific issues.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
Thank you very much, Gabby.
荷兰媒体，昨天荷兰媒体报道称，中国政府所支持的关于针对荷兰的发起的间谍行动提及了在台湾间谍机构所工作的人员身份，中方对此有何？
I'm not aware of the situation you mentioned. Next one, please.
一边角日新闻提问。
Asahi Shimbun, Japanese Defense Minister today said on the issue of radar illumination that the key lies in the fact that China conducted 30 minutes long intermittent illumination. I understand that it is not a problem for China to open its search radar, but we've been asking questions about whether there was intermittent radar or whether the radar was locked on Japanese aircraft. So my question is, did the foreign ministry clearly deny that what Japan has said, that on December the 6th, China conducted intermittent illumination on Japanese aircraft?
就此阐明严正。
China has made our solemn position clear for multiple times. The facts and truths are very clear. The Japanese side claims that it has not received the notification of China. Now it acknowledges it has received the Chinese information in advance, which is contradictory. Japanese also refuse to explain why, under the circumstances of receiving the prior notification, still insist on sending fighter jets to ram into the Chinese training region and do the closing reconnaissance and harassment, create the tension and continuously hype up the issue. As Japan tries to purposefully divert the focus and tries to misguide the international community, what Japanese side should do is to face up the root causes of the difficulties of the current China-Japan relations, to seriously reflect its wrongdoings and earnestly retract the erroneous remarks of Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi's remarks on Taiwan.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
Spokesperson, this is also a follow-up on the
追问关于雷达的问题，美国国务院发言人称，中国战机周六雷达照射日本军机的行为不利于地区和平与稳定。外交部对此有何回应？
针对所谓
On the so-called radar illumination issue, Chinese media has published the records on the spot and the relevant details. The facts and truths are very clear. China's training activities in the relevant waters and airspace is completely in line with international law and common practices. The maneuvers are professional, secure, restrained, and beyond dispute. The Japanese side first do the harassment on purpose and then play up the issue is the starter and the creator of the farce. It has to bear the complete responsibility. We hope international community can be clear-eyed, do not deceived by the Japanese side. The Japanese allies should be in particular be alert and do not be misguided by the Japanese side.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
谢谢发言人 NHK 提问。
日本广播协会 Japanese Defense Minister said that Japanese aircraft has never used radar over Chinese aircraft and said that due to the lack of announcement of the operation, Japan did not gather enough information to prevent danger. What's your comment on that?
刚才我已经回答。
Just now I have answered to the relevant question. I'm sure you are really aware of it. The Japanese claim to not receive the information in advance. Now it acknowledges it has received the prior notification. This contradictory comment has proved that the Japanese side on the first do the harassment and play up the issue later is the creator of the farce. We must face up to the root causes of the incident, and the Japanese side should seriously reflect the wrongdoings and retract the erroneous remarks of the Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi. Next one, please.
Can you confirm?
你能否证实相关报道称，中俄的轰炸机进入了日本领空？
关于中俄联合巡航，
As to the situation of China-Russia joint patrol, Chinese Ministry of National Defense has released relevant information. I want to emphasize that the strategic air patrol of China and Russia is within the project of the plan of cooperation and shows the joint resolve and capability to tackle the regional security challenges and safeguard the regional peace and stability. Next question, please.
Thank you, spokesperson. Question about
我有一个关于英伟达芯片的问题。金融时报报道称，中方正在考虑限制获得英伟达的 H200芯片。虽然说特朗普总统已经决定允许该芯片出售给中国，中方对此有何评论？
我们昨天已就有关
We have responded to the relevant questions yesterday. As to the specifics, I will refer you to the Chinese competent authorities.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
Thank you. A question from AFP.
法新社人权高专图尔克昨天的时候说，他对于香港严厉的国安法被利用，对要求彻查香港大火事故的人员进行镇压表示关切，中方对此有何评论？
香港国安法和
Since the adoption and implementation of the Law on Safeguarding National Security, Hong Kong SAR, and the Safeguarding National Security Ordinance, the two laws and ordinances have earnestly safeguarded the rights and freedom the Hong Kong inhabitants have enjoyed in accordance with the law, safeguard the prosperity and stability of Hong Kong, earnestly ensure Hong Kong to restore order and set to thrive. The government of Hong Kong SAR is orderly, working for the follow-up actions of the incident and properly settle the disaster-affected public and working for the investigation. The relevant work have been fully recognized by the society. The election day of the 8th Legislative Council of Hong Kong SAR has been a success recently. The process is secure, smooth, and successful, opening the new chapter of the Hong Kong high-quality democracy. I want to emphasize no matter the adoption and implementation of the Hong Kong National Security Law and Ordinance or the election of the Hong Kong Legislative Council, they are internal affairs of Hong Kong and China. They are not a matter of human rights, bears no external interference. China has launched representation against the erroneous remarks of the office, and we urge the Human Rights Office to uphold the purpose and principle of the UN Charter, respect the sovereignty of member states, impartially and objectively fulfill its obligation to not be used by political forces seeking another agenda. Next question, please.
Thank you, spokesperson. Another question.
另一个关于英伟达的问题，该公司开发了关于地点验证的技术，可以看到芯片在哪个国家被使用。这是一个可选的功能，可以帮助防止 AI 芯片被偷渡到其他被禁止出口的国家。中方对此有何评论？中方会否对这一技术有安全的考虑？
我不了解你提到的具体情况。
I'm not aware the specific situation you have mentioned.
下一个问题。
Next one.
还有其他问题吗？
Any other questions?
好，今天的记者。
This is all for today's press conference. Thank you for coming.